Okay, in the last video I talked about the subjectivity of pricing and how different insurance pricing is because the pricing is so fluid, especially for businesses that pay about $10,000 or more in premium. And now I'm going to talk about what the impact is, the impact and the consequences for the business owner. So since pricing is so subjective and there are so many arguments that can be made to drive your pricing down, since there are so many things that statistical measurements can't really contemplate, like your customer base versus that of another, or your hiring practices or training, or literally there are hundreds of issues. Since there are all of these issues that underwriters can consider, what is the impact? Well, the impact is twofold. Number one, effort matters, and number two, relationships matter. So by that I mean the amount of effort a broker puts in on your behalf has a big difference, big impact on what your final pricing is. So if there are hundreds of issues that an underwriter can consider in terms of negotiating lower pricing for your premium, then the effort made by a broker to actually put these arguments together, and we believe put them together in writing, but to put these arguments together has a big impact on your pricing. And in other videos we go into the reasons why brokers don't always put in a superior effort. But we're going to leave it at that now, and I'm sure you can understand that the more arguments that are put in on your behalf, the more high quality, the more high quantity arguments that are put together on your behalf, and we believe in writing, the better. The more likely the underwriter is going to see your business, your risk in the best light possible and give you the best possible rates that underwriter can come up with. So effort matters. Also, because the pricing is so subjective and fluid, relationships matter a great deal. By that I mean that there are brokers out there that have access to the same insurance companies. Not every broker has access to the same insurance companies, but obviously insurance companies appoint many brokers, many agents to represent them. There are exceptions to that with regard to direct writers, but for most independent agencies, they have access to several insurance companies. Well, if you think about it, if pricing is fluid, if it is negotiable, if it is in fact can be altered up or down based on the underwriter's guesstimate really of what future pricing will be, then the relationship that underwriter has with the person bringing them the business makes a big impact on final pricing. As when I was on the broker side, I had underwriters who I had a great relationship with, and I knew that if I really needed a great deal, I could go to those underwriters, and if it was the type of account that they liked, I had a great chance to get a great quote. I also knew there were other underwriters who didn't like me so much, and that's true for all brokers. And it might not be personal, it might be personal, it might be simply that we aren't writing much business together. It might be that they don't like the style that we approach, or they don't like the business we've been bringing them, or we have a high loss ratio, or it could be any number of things. But the relationships matter. Since pricing is so flexible, if I have a good relationship with the underwriter, it's more likely they're going to stretch for me on the applications that I send to them on behalf of my business clients. So those are the two things to consider as the impact. In the next video, I'm going to go over the consequences of the subjectivity of pricing.